Alright, so we're just gonna make a limited unit tier list for you guys today, and this is basically going to cover both PvE and PvP. I don't really want to make two separate tier lists because they're just not really worth it for limited units because there's not really a lot of them. So basically we're just gonna be ranking these units into 4 tiers here. We have the S tier, the A tier, the B tier and the C tier, and just gonna go by power levels and how frequently you'll actually use them. So these units are limited, so they rerun less frequently. But honestly, because we have so many now, it's really kind of hard to say that they're limited. In the past, I think in the first 2 years of the game, we had like, 6 or 7 limited units. Now we have like more than 20. So, even if you see these limited banners, you still need to prioritize what you want to pull for because limited banners actually run a lot more frequently than you think. So we're going to start here at the bottom. We have a mid. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Let me actually do this for you guys. I know you guys always like when I do this. We're going to put a mid in the B tier just because only really ever used in Guild Wars defense, and even then she gets countered by a lot of units such as Cleave, also such as, Politis, Fire Politis, so pretty hard to use her now. You can use her in RTA, I guess, if you are really confident in your speed. Mostly going to be like a last pick though, but I'll put her in the B tier. Albedo, I'm going to put her in the A tier. Honestly, I think people underrate her. She's a very, very strong counter cleave unit. And honestly, I think her damage is pretty nuts. It's just kind of underrated. And I think she's a pretty decent unit when you compare her to the other limiteds. Blooming Lidica, I'm going to put her in the top of A tier. Honestly, I want to put her in S, but it's pretty hard to use her if you're not like a dedicated cleaver. So we'll put her in the top of the A tier. If you cleave, she's a must-have unit. She shuts down Navy Captain Landy, Abyssal Athene, anything really slow and tanky. And her S2 with her artifact is insane, so she can, AoE CR push back the enemy side, while also giving your entire team skill nullifier, also doing a ton of damage to a single target, and then stun locking, so you can actually lap with your faster units. Very, very strong cleave unit. Baiken, just a C tier unit, she's only really used for Banshee one-shot. Amelia, B tier unit, similar to a mid, honestly. I kind of want to put her in C now. I'm going to put her in C just because you don't really use her ever anymore, except for like very niche contents in PvE. A mid is just a better version of Amelia, to be honest. Cerise, also C tier unit. You literally like use her nowhere. So we're going to put her in the bottom of C tier. Benamaru, B tier unit. You can use him in Guild Wars offense against Concreliuses, but you don't really see Concrelius anymore. So pretty hard to use him, but I guess he does have a niche, so we'll put him in the B tier. Dizzy, also a C tier unit. I guess I'll put her in B, somewhere around here, just because she's so good in Abyss for the early floors. And if you start playing when Dizzy's like about to come out or is running and you get her, she just cheeses all of Abyss for you. I'll put her at the bottom of B tier, PvE only unit, but she's very, very good in Abyss. Diane, I'm going to put her in the A tier. I think she's still not a terrible unit. She's still a very good Soul Weaver, right? She's a lot of cycling, cleansing, really good buffs. But she's very, very, I guess, kind of power crept now. The meta is too fast for her, but if you do make her work, she's okay. I think I'll put her at the top of B tier, actually, to make it more realistic. Biblis, I'll put her in the B tier. Yeah, just a unit to counter attackers, but Rwana just does what she does, but better, because Rwana's S2 doesn't have a cooldown. But if you do pick her into certain counterattack units, such as like Navy Captain Landy, she can be okay, but honestly, just the worst version of Rwana. Elfelt, also a C tier unit, only really used in hunt one-shots, that is pretty much it. Edward is going to be an A tier unit. I want to put him in somewhere around here, honestly. I think maybe top of A tier, just because of the fact that he shuts down aggressive comps still very well. He can get overwhelmed with debuffs, but besides that, he's still very good if they have a decent amount of debuffs, right? Not too many. He can shut down, units like Peyra, Ran, stuff like that, which makes him very powerful. Holiday Euphine, she's a counter opener, but she sucks, C tier. Fairy Tale Tenebria, pretty good opener if you can actually go first with her, but she's pretty much only a last pick unit, and you'll only ever pick her in RTA. So I think I kind of have to put her at the top of C tier. Jacko, very good aggressive unit. I'm going to put her up here. Mostly a cleave unit, but even cleavers don't really use her as much nowadays, I'd say. Maybe I'd drop her at the bottom of A tier, actually. But she's very good in Guild Wars offense if you like to cleave with like Zio, right? Laya, easy S tier. Best RGB unit in the game, I'd say. for PvP, she is just amazing. She can solo DPS as a utility unit because how powerful her S3 is and how fast she cycles and how powerful like all of her skills are. She counters Noggle and Lua, pretty much pushed them out of the meta. She is decent against Cleave as well with her artifacts, so pretty good unit. Landy, I'm going to put her at the bottom of A tier. Not really used in PvP, but she is so strong in PvE that I have to put her in the A tier here. She's used in so many areas of content. Luna here, we're going to put her probably at the top of C tier just because you can only really use her in Fire Expedition, and honestly, you can just use Commander Lorena or Terranor Guard instead of her, and it's fine, and you don't have to use Molgoras. So she's going to be a C tier unit. Lethe is going to be probably bottom of A tier or top of B tier. I think she's better than Zien for sure, so we'll put her probably around here. Very good in Guild Wars offense, sometimes usable in RTA if you pick her very late and they don't have any injuries, but for the most part, not going to be really used anywhere outside of Guild Wars offense. Milim, just a pretty bad unit now, I'd say. I'm going to put her in the C tier. She used to be pretty strong when Green Landy was like super meta. Milim was a very good unit, but nowadays you don't really see her. Midnight Galilius, she is going to be... Do I put her in S tier? I think I'm going to put her in the A tier, just because you don't see her as often in RTA in the current state of the game. Still commonly picked, but not as much as last season. And in Guild Wars offense, she's still very good, but just keep in mind with like band protection and stuff like that, you can really easily just counter her with units like Rimuru and Ikarina. So you have to be very careful when picking her. So I'm going to put her probably somewhere around here. You can put her probably anywhere in these slots and she'd be fine. Ocean Breeze Luca, A tier unit as well. I think I'm going to put her around here. She's a very good cleanser. She's always going to be very good for Guild Wars defense unless more counters come out. Even though ML Palatus counters her, right? Units like Ikarina, if you pair her with like Ikarina and ML Shu, that's my defense team, they will always net you wins. Like, it's such a strong combo. She synergizes very well with Abyssal Euphine as well with her defense buff. So very strong defense unit in RT and World Arena. She can be used against like Conqueror's teams. She can be used against Cleave teams. She's very strong and versatile there, so I'll put her in the A tier. Next we have Rem. I'm going to put her in the bottom of B tier. She's actually a pretty solid Cleave counter still to this day, but outside of that, not going to be used anywhere else. She's also actually decent in some Hunt one-shot comps, right? So I think I'm going to actually rank her a little bit higher, just because you actually can use her a lot more often. Rimuru, kind of want to put him like here, like he's borderline S, but I'm going to put him in A tier just because he's very good against Cleave, as always, and he is good against like Midnight Galilius. He's good against anything that has, you know, what's it called, like damage reduction built in. So pretty strong unit. I'm going to put him somewhere around here. Is he better than Edward? I think so, so I'm going to put him up here. Roy, another A tier unit for PvP. He is a pretty strong damage dealer. I think somewhere around here would be fine, just because he does a ton of damage. Just keep in mind he gets really hard countered by ice units, and Ikarina is like his worst nightmare. Riza, terrible unit. I don't even know what she does anymore. She was built for Wyvern and she sucks there, so somewhere around here. Seaside Bellona, I'm going to put her at the top of B tier. She is actually not that bad in PvP right now, just because there's so many things that can trigger her passive very easily, like, you know, there's a lot of AoE going on and stuff like that. So I'm going to put her at the top of B tier. She's actually a pretty solid bruiser. Shaltir, I'm going to put her at the top of B tier as well. Just not that great. She's just like an Aiden counter, evasion counter currently, and she does have injuries, but they take too long to ramp up. And actually, like Laya with her dual attack on her S1 can actually easily deal with her after like 2 turns or even like 1 turn if you have a unit go before her. So top of B tier. Summerbreak Charlotte, also C tier. Used to be very common in Cleave, not anymore because she's just not that great. Summertime Hysteria, B tier unit, can be used in Cleave, just not used as much anymore. I think maybe like top of B tier because she's still good in Guild Wars offense, but besides that, you know, just not that great in Cleave as much as she was before. Giselle, top of C tier. I kind of want to put her here. Actually, I'm going to put her in top of C tier. She is a good aggressive Cleave unit, but ML Ludwig is just her but better. Ikarina, another S tier unit. There's only 2 S tier units that are limited right now currently, I'd say, like overall. And this is kind of leaning more for PvP. But yeah, very, very powerful for PvP. Actually, like if I factor in PvE a little bit more, I think I should put like SSB up here. Yeah, I think she's so good in PvE, and then Landy like probably like around here because Landy's also very good in PvE, so something like that. Ning Ning, trash unit, used to counter barriers, just not that great. Winter, B tier unit, she's mostly used to counter Janua. That's pretty much it, but she is really, really good at that. But yeah, this is the limited unit tier list. Honestly, for like pulling on banners for units, I think you can prioritize something like this. Obviously, like some units can be moved around like, you know, sideways in their own tier. But I think the tiers are pretty solidified, I'd say. Like, you know, whether you think Ramure's top of A tier or bottom of A tier, I think it's, we can all say that he's A tier, right? And etc. for the other units. But if you guys have any qualms or any disagreements or any other thoughts, actually, just let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you guys hit that like button to see more tier lists like this.